live from our studios on Karaba Avenue. Good evening, viewers, from wherever you're watching us from. It's good to be back to yet another edition of QTV Youth Dialogue. And I am your host, Jul Denjai. Last week we were here and we were talking about a very interesting topic, which is the supplementary voter registration and the need for people to go out to register. You still have time. The registration for the supplementary voter registration ends on the 21st of May, 2026. So for those of you who are yet to register, you still have time to register. This evening, like I promised you last week, that we're going to have a very, very interesting show. It's all about young people breaking barriers. I have with me this evening Sidia Kebe, who is the winner of the Gambia Teacher Prize 2026. Guess what? He's a young person. I am proud. Congratulations, Mr. Kebe.
Thank you so very much, ma'am.
And welcome to the Youth Dialogue.
Thank you.
This is your first time here, right?
Sure it is.
Oh. Hope that I will have you next time, inshallah. It's the first,
please.
but hopefully it's not gonna be the last.
Certainly.
Yeah. So talk to us about, first of all, tell us about how you feel about winning the 2026 Teacher Prize. You know, being a young person, a young teacher, and all of that. How does it feel?
Well, it feels so much overwhelming. It feels so much grateful to us. And of course, at some point you felt recognized after years of struggle, and all of a sudden God is bringing it to your doorstep at such a way that was so much anticipated.
MashaAllah. Talk to us about Mr. Kebe. For those of us, the listeners and the viewers, tell us who Mr. Kebe is. You know, the school, your journey to becoming this great teacher that you are today.
Well, it might be a bit of long, but maybe for the sake of the time, we would bet it's such time. Well, I go by Sidia Kebe, born, raised, brought up in Jara Soma, with one legendary woman, of course, a single parent we call her. And again, we attended school in Soma, and of course, the primary school was at Soma Lower Basic, then continued to Soma Upper and Soma Senior Secondary School, where we graduated in 2018, then proceeded to the Gambia College and graduated in 2021. And luckily, got back to home, promise fulfilled, where we get posted at home again from where we graduated and serve as teachers down there. And we are serving my 5th year in the field of education as a teacher. So the journey down here was, it all starts back then in the upper basic when we were in grade 9.
Right.
This is where life have to test us in a different dimension, because I used to have a father who was very ill at the time. And again, being the first son of the family, you have to be going to school, you have to be with mom, and of course, at the same time, you have to be helping dad and of course, the other siblings downwards. But when we were in grade 9, shortly before exams, God's qadar could not actually let us be, but he took my father. Alhamdulillah, may Allah's mercy be with him today. So that makes it even more tough for us, because you could imagine at such a young age, having siblings around, having mom and all that. And of course, you still have to be going to school. That was so more than difficult for us. And again, out of inadequate space of guidance and counseling, of course, could not be able to focus more because it was so difficult for us. But then later onwards, we graduated with aggregate 37, and this is where the peak of the story have to start. And at grade 12, to cut it so short anyway, we have a teacher in our school, Lamin Dimbalan, he was called, posted down there. And of course, he was renting. While we were in grade 12, he picked us to take us to his house where we attend classes, intensive classes, and other teachers of our school would join us down there. And that really helped enable us to graduate with something in WATS exams. That was around 7 credits, yeah? So there, henceforth, I picked up the journey of becoming a teacher and made some few promises. And I was like, when I have to be a teacher, I am going to go back to Soma, Upper and Senior, for my first 2 teaching practices to give back to my community. And the third one, I will do that elsewhere. And after completing college, I will want to go back to the same school. But then COVID comes, and of course, we could not do the 3rd posting, but first 2 postings were at Soma. And of course, after graduation, out of God's qadar, we were able to go back to home. Why do I do this? That was because I want to make sure there is a space available for the young people that I lack back then in grade 9 that gave me that result. And again, I could see the difference when that teacher in Dimbalan was there for us in grade 12. I want to make sure if I am to be grateful to his services, I want to make sure I do even more than that. Exactly. So we did that. While we were going to college, we built a study group at home. At the time, I would be traveling. On weekends, I would have to go back and, of course, have classes with them, give them my key. When I'm away, they would stay at home and read. And thank God that helped them. The first batch we've graduated at grade 9, they got 2 aggregate 8s.
Mashallah.
And of course, others 2
you were
12.
not like a permanent teacher there.
No,
you
I
were
wasn't.
just coming and going.
Exactly,
But
at
you
the
know,
time.
along the line, you were assisting
Sure.
these students
Yes.
in their academic journey.
So in summary, that has been our journey to this whole thing.
Wow. So was teaching, was it something that you always wanted to do, or you do it, you just find yourself in the teaching field, just like many young people who are just there for the sake of being there?
Initially, I used to have 2 dreams. That is, I want to be a medical scientist, or I want to be an agriculturist, that is in any dimension, but I want to focus on agriculture. So when actual graduation occurred, could not be able to have those 2, but thank God, God enabled me to be an agricultural science teacher after walking down to the college. So it was something that we have as in passion to be a specialist in the area of agriculture. And that actually was a lot for us, honestly.
Wow. So at what moment in your life did you realize that, teaching, it's not just about a job for me there, but it's a calling?
Well, that happens on the very first day of my qualification.
Okay.
When I finished college, when the attestations were out, before we go on postings,
Right.
my attestation comes in the second row. So we finished in October, and attestation for me was around on the 16th day of November. So immediately from graduating at college, before the attestations were out, I went back to the school and I started teaching. I was given a was given a timetable, and of course started that. But when I got posted on November 17th, 2021, I walked into one of the grade 9 classes, and this is where I took a promise, and I told them that my function in your class is not just to come and teach science, but I came in here to impact life, and of course I came to change the life of the young people. And that was the day I pick up that actual path to say, I'm not only limiting myself to the classroom, but I want to go outside and of course build young people. And alhamdulillah, God is making that possible for us.
MashaAllah. So November 17, 2021 was like the day that you will never forget. Like, this is the day that I've decided that I'm going to transform the lives of many young people, just like the way they transformed my life. But in terms of your challenges, because whatever achievements, when achievements happen, people just tend to focus on, you know, the glorification, the glory and everything. But behind the scene, there is a lot that is going on.
Sure.
What were some of the quiet struggles that you were encountering?
The greatest of them were critics that could come on the way. Yeah, because you could imagine at such a young age, already we are young, but let's say 3, 4, 5 years backwards, imagine how we could be at the time. Very young, right? And again, you tend to see when you started doing something good, people would tend to criticize you. But my then principal, Mr. Jaji, would tell me, if they do not criticize you, meaning you're not doing anything good. So that critics is actually good for you, but how do you handle it becomes the question mark downwards. So you tend to see in the province of Gambia, usually we do not have too much time because I am posted on double shift, which means you have to go by 7 in the morning, close by 6 in the evening. And again, there would be little space to have some extra classes. So our classes are all done in the night. And having parents trust us to allow their children come up in the night to attend these classes, that was a bit of challenge. This is why we started with boys. The first batch was only 12 boys. But after the results were out, that actual problem has been solved. Now parents build that trust to allow even girl child to be with us out there. So people will criticize us, say a lot of things out there, most especially when girl children were included. Some would take it to be in a different dimension. But then one thing is for sure, if your intention towards what you're doing is clear, they don't have to worry about what is said against you.
Absolutely. Oh my God, this is such an inspiring story. But Mr. Kebe, also, when you were starting, you decided that, okay, now I wanted to be an agriculturist. I wanted to venture in the medical field. But, you know, for some reason, you know, teaching is my calling. How has it been like for you, especially your mother? You did mention that you were single, you were raised by a single parent. How was it like for you? Was she able to accept that you are now in the teaching field? Because in the Gambia here, we believe that when you teach, like teachers are poor, even though they are the most important people in our society. But when it comes to their wages, it's really minimal. How was it like for your family?
Well, I became a teacher because of 2 teachers that were in our school then. Mr. Lamen Trawale, he was our then science teacher, who is at Birkama at the moment, with Mr. Ibrahima Sohna, our maths teacher. When we finished the exams, then before the results were out, application for uni was out. And of course, the college was also out. So I went in to buy PIN for university to actually apply and pursue what I wanted to. Then one time I walked to the school as an graduate anyway, not yet having the results, awaiting. Then Mr. Trawale asked me, the PIN or the applications are open. What are you doing right now? I was like, I'm applying for uni. He said, Kebe, you have to apply for college. I was like, college, me? He says, yes, you have to. So I was like, he says, you have that potential of being a teacher. And when you teach, people would understand.
Wow.
So you got to do that. And Mr. Sohna was standing out there. On his phone, I could remember, he also said, you have potentials of becoming a very good teacher. You want to apply that. I was reluctant initially, but later they convinced me with a word. Now apply it as a backup plan. In case uni do not work, you don't have to be sitting down. You go in for college. And that was one of the best ideas that actually come in. And this is how we ended. So for mom, it wasn't a problem. Just that she was not that convinced having me leave Jarasoma, attend college in the Combos. That was her own worry. This is why my weekends were so frequent. I have to be going.
And coming.
So oftenly,
So in terms of also your students, you know, what do you do beyond what, you know, things that you do that other teachers are not doing in your school? I know in order to receive this out of a lot, you know, to be recognized as the best requires a lot.
Sure.
What do you do that other teachers are not doing? Like, what do you do differently that is unique to you?
Well, God blessed me with some skills, part of which is a listening skill. And at some point, we can be able to read people's accent very well, too. And at some point, we also have this ability, whereas my relationship with the students is one of the best, I think. Anyway, because looking into that, students have to be those people that, you know, sometimes they sit in the classroom. We feel they are okay, but in here they are not okay. You tend to see some of them are going through a very tough time. But the only problem that rose to their head is, who can I trust to share my issues with?
True.
So being a teacher, I have that relationship with them. Whereas when they have issues, out of many, sometimes I ask myself this question. Why do they trust me with their issues? They have to be that person. When they have issues, they will run down. Kebe is at school. And come and see my age with them. Or come and see my height with them.
Exactly. Normally people will run to, and like elderly people who are mature and all of that can keep secrets. Yeah.
So I'll keep on asking me the same way. But when you meet me in them outside school hours, you feel like we are all age mates, working through, doing one or two things together. So that brings more trust between me and them. And again, that gives us more space to know them more. And of course, know each of them what is going to be best in order to help them in excelling in their own lives. So that helps us to push them towards trainings, to push them into other issues outside the classroom, extracurricular activities, build their potentials on public speaking, help them become drama actors. Some of them have even graduated while they're already entrepreneurs.
Wow.
Of course,
Mashallah.
a lot has happened with us, out of God's
no wonder why you received this prize. You really deserve this. Honestly, we can only hope that, you know, this keeps happening, more and more and more achievements, inshallah. So also, beyond the classroom, how are you able to shape the lives of people? Also, the teaching field in the Gambia here. How do you see the educational sector in the Gambia as a teacher?
Two broad questions in one.
Yes. That was deliberate.
Definitely, that was. Well, outside the classroom, at school we manage clubs, right? Like we brush outside. These clubs, each of them are specified into a particular direction. We have a club in the school called Robib. We name it as Robib, abbreviation, remind us on the basis of Islamic principles. This is a club whereas we write about issues regarding the deen and all that actually affecting the people in our society, to serve as a reminder. And almost on assemblies, we coach students, give it to them as in a presentation, guide them, they memorize, and of course go to the assembly and then be able to teach the people about it. So that would help them not only to say it to the people, but to reflect upon it. Because when you are given a particular part that you're supposed to memorize, of course, as you're memorizing, you're reading it to yourself. Of course, that effect is shown in that person. So tomorrow, changing them when they're doing something that is not right becomes easy for us by introducing them to this. So we also have this club called the Global Platforms that works around environmental sanitation, climate change in a more diversified area.
I'm glad you mentioned climate change.
Exactly.
I'm a real climate change advocate.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. So we understand it is a global concern that is affecting every single one of us. So when this club came to us, before it comes, we used to have the Agri Club that does the work of the GP right now. But they come, so we turn the Agri Club into the global platforms. So that club platform enabled me and them to all learn about the climate, of course, some of the activities done by human towards this climate change, and what can we do to mitigate them. This enabled us to go on with the speed of voluntarism to be able to do things on our own. So when it was introduced in our club, in our school, then we tend to actually pick it from there henceforth, and of course we also educate. So this last year, after we have it done in our school, we plant trees and all that, then we also extend our hands to other schools within the region. So from our course, we selected 10 schools in LRR, and out of these 10, we were able to meet 8, where we would write to their school authorities, visit them on their school, either on seminars or on assemblies. We sensitize them, talk to them about climate change, talk to them about the importance of animals and trees around us, and what can we do collectively in order to mitigate it. As one of our poems would say, we cannot end it completely, but me plus you plus you plus they and every one of us together, we can mitigate it. So that sends us far away. And working down to the educational system in the country, well, first, you need to say congratulations, and we want to say thank you to Honorable Minister Dr. Drame. She is so modern. I would need to keep on saying that, right? She is very modern.
That's right.
And her modern nature is helping we, the younger ones, with bringing in innovative methods in the teaching field. This is what we want, right? We understand the curriculum that we have in the system, and of course, all the methods that we have in the system, they're very good, right? Very, very good. But sometimes what works for the 19th century might just not be the best for the 21st century. So in our century, we have advancement when it comes to technology. We need innovative ideas, and this is what the minister is doing for us right now. And we young people are so much happy, and of course, she keep on inspiring us. Each time we hear about her developments in education, I was like, yes, she's there doing what we want.
This is what we needed.
Exactly. And that press release about the graduation, that was one of the greatest things we celebrated at the school. It happened during the holidays. I was in the classroom as an assistant to one of the teachers teaching. I was passing through Facebook, then I saw that press release. First, I do not believe. Then I texted Dauda to authenticate whether that was the right message. So he said he was honest. Then I published. I told the teacher, please pause for a while. I read it out to the students.
And what was the press release about?
Banning of the graduation.
Okay.
So the students
were
like...
It's a huge burden for students and their parents.
Definitely, more especially in the provincial Gambia. So when I read it out, they were like, no, Kebe, we have to graduate. I was like, hey, you know what? The graduation is not a problem. But how we are taking it is the entire problem. I tell you, in the provincial Gambia, you see a single parent who is having too many children because one is graduating, and societally, those that are able to have a little would want to make it to be in a point like you cannot stand it. Sometimes you'll be sitting down there amongst the parents, your child is graduating, considering what you're earning, low-income earner. Somebody out there having something more. They design money into shapes, put on this person as crushes.
Exactly. When people
publicly, right?
Students are there who do not have even lunch to
definitely,
take to school.
Definitely, you see that. Some of them don't read their stories to you, feel like it's something else. So those parents make it even more difficult for this younger one. And you cannot also say, my child would not allow it. You know, the stigma out there, of course, the discrimination out there. These are all burdens laid on parents. But when the minister came up with that, I was like, this was wonderful, honestly. She's just a legend.
Mashallah.
God keep her for us down here.
So what is the hardest part of being a teacher, especially in provincial Gambia? We know there are challenges, improvements, achievements, but we know there are challenges and inequalities there.
Definitely. They are very well. Too many of them. But then cannot be able to share them all, honestly. Forgive me on that. But we want to stress a few. So looking into provincial Gambia teaching, it's easy, it's difficult. Because one thing that we are facing as a challenge, we will nurture them, build them up at the junior level. When they produce wonderful, they're all relocated down here to the urban sites, right? And again, in that process, we have this curriculum. And of course, I would need to keep on saying that. The curriculum, to me, if there can be any methodologies of having it changed, it actually would help us. We want a curriculum that is fit when it comes to vocational education. We understand not everyone have that ability to do it with the pen and the paper. Some are having some potentials, but cannot be able to excel using that teaching methodologies that we used to have. But when we bring in vocational trainings at their younger stage, you tend to see a child growing with that mindset.
Important, I know the Ministry of Higher Education, it's doing that, vocational centers all over the country. But it's important that, like you said, we started at the grassroots. Yes.
Because you remember, when a child is able to grow with that mindset, since at that time, maybe specializing in carpentry work, specializing in welding, all that, when they graduate, they might not necessarily need, of course, office works to do. You'll just continue with your skill. This would need to help us, but we have to go back to that old curriculum that we have, still put the same emphasis into the younger ones, and of course that is what they keep on carrying out with their whole life. And again, technology is another challenge. To some schools in the provinces are lucky to have some technological handles that enable them to have classes done easily. But there are other schools too that actually needs a greater support when it comes to that. You tend to see they're still focusing on old methods. And again, technological handles make learning even easier for us, because it makes you to become creative. It enables you to have learning by doing, where you just get to have materials on practicals. This is what we need, right? We want to learn by doing, because when we are taught in class, we only have information, and that information keeps with me. If I do not grow with it, I send it to somebody. The same person would send the same thing to everybody.
It's very important. Practical, it's important.
Definitely.
You know, when you learn by doing.
Exactly. You have first-hand
knowledge. But once you're seated, but the good thing is also the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education have coming up with the National Language Policy, where it enables teachers to actually get to teach in the languages that students understand.
Very good.
You know, that is a plus. We will get there.
Definitely.
We will get there. So going back now to the award that you received, how did you get to hear about it or know about the Gambia Teacher Prize by the ministry in collaboration with Nyame Foundation?
Surprisingly, let me surprise you with one thing.
Okay.
Can I tell you, I submitted my application on the deadline. I was aware of it 2 days before the deadline.
So I'm not alone in this. I'm fond of doing that a lot. Wow.
So year before, last year, you know, we are the GOAT region, right? As our governor would say, Honorable Mr. Ba would say, LRR is a land of hope. And in that land of hope, the first edition was won by a teacher in LRR. And the second one too was in LRR, Madam Anjali, the legendary mentor we have. Yes. So when she won it, I was there at the celebration, and again, we celebrated. But from that point henceforth, I don't even put my mind on the air. It just ended like that for me, right? So I was there until one fine time, I got visited at the school, surprisingly. I was never told. One Dauda Jallo came to our school, Mr. DJ, he's called a media personnel. He came to the school, and I was in the science lab where we used to be. Of course, got called. Then I came out. I found him under the table tree. So while I was working, you know, these media people, one thing I don't like about them, filming too much. So he put his camera on us. I was like, no, come on, I have to be honest, honestly. So he was filming. I was like, let's go to a class. I told him, I do not have class at the moment. I am in my leisure time. He says, no, I just want to see your students. And never told me what his intention was. We walk into the classroom. He had interviewed the students. He was asking them about who me is to them. Then they started saying, but that was one of the best things, because it happened at the time they were not prepared to put in anything. They just pick something natural. So he picked that video and sent it viral. I was there. Students and parents to my students would call. Mr. Kile, we saw you on Facebook. Students were commenting about you. Keep it up. I was like, wow, what happened?
The power of media.
Sure, you said that, right? You are more than powerful. Then I got the link to the video. I watched it. One of the students would even have to screenshot this, send it to me. So it was like, for the first time, camera phobia, being shy over it, you know, all that, definitely. So afterwards, people started calling, and they start persuading us to apply for the teacher award. I was like, teacher award, how does that happen? So after all that happened, I was aware of it on the 3rd day of December, and the deadline was supposed to be on the 5th of December. So on the
Wow.
3rd was when I started the process.
That's a miracle.
Definitely it is. But you know, when destiny has something for you,
Yeah,
suddenly it cannot
exactly.
keep you. Then, so that happened on that on the 3rd, I started reading about it, then walk down to seek for guidance as to how it will go, then start the process that very night. Then the next morning, I went directly to the regional office, pick the form, then fill the form, complete the requirements, attach my files and everything to that. Book a recommendation with our principal. Mr. Singati does very well. Thank you very much, Mr. Principal. And of course, after that, on Friday was the deadline. Went to the regional office
And
and submit.
Were you hopeful?
Yeah, I was at some point.
Okay.
Because when I submitted, I was like, if it is ours, it would come. And suddenly I was like, I gotta get this. So I moved on, and I was there one fine time having an afternoon night. I was called. Congratulations, Mr. Kebe. You're shortlisted for an interview at the Gambia Teacher Press. On the 16th of February in the regional office. I was like, fine. So we went to regional office, did the regional interview, and I was announced regional winner. Running helter-skelter that day when the announcement was done. You could understand how that felt, right? So I was following it live when they announced, mentioned other regions. Now it is LRR, region 4. So the chief judge or the announcer paused for a while, and you could see how that was going inside.
You were scared.
At one point it is me, and another point, no, somebody else is down there. So when he mentioned CD, before the Kebe would come, it's like, wow. That was it. So we have to bow down and make sure there is some thank you to God. And of course, we then start celebrating from the regional dimension.
So those in the agricultural sector and medical field, sorry there, but you lost someone. He is not going back again. Are you going back?
No, because maybe I would go back.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. Teaching field, buguñ la baye de, Mr. Kebe.
Suddenly. Yeah.
But congratulations. We wish you all the best.
Very much. Thank you.
You know, solely hard work pays,
Definitely
and then it's good to be good.
Sure.
Right? You know, goodness, I know it's hard, but when you're good, it pays off.
Definitely.
So the $100,000 is finally, I know, yes. What are we going to do with it, Mr. Kebe? I know you are a philanthropist, you are kind, so...
Can we leave that for the viewers to comment, please?
Okay, viewers, what do you think Mr. Kebe should do with the $100,000 prize that he was given? Mr. Kebe, why didn't I investigate? I will come to your school and I will see what the initiatives that you're coming up with.
We are loading something.
Okay.
But when it comes, certainly you'll be aware of it.
Let me know. I'll definitely come there. So finally, what is next? You know, especially for young people out there who do not feel that or think that, teaching, mom, it's not for me, you know, there is no money and it's too much work, it's too much stress and all that. What message do you have for those young people that are watching? The
same message we will share to the world. Like looking into the field of education, as our then principal would say, Kebe, if you are here for money, then this is not your place. So he told me that initially when I got posted at this school. So when we look into that, though money is very important, we cannot go without it. We all need it. No, we all need it. It is a need in our life. We have to have it, inshallah, in a halal way, right? But again, as teachers, our job is different from the other sectors. We deal with a very sensitive part of the population, and these are the young people. We are young, yes, but we're dealing with something that is even more younger than us. And again, playing part in their lives is something that really matters to us. It's something that has to matter on every single person that pick up the challenge of becoming a teacher. We must understand it might not be easy. It would be difficult. But better still, our impact in those children would keep on shaping their lives until tomorrow they are also something. Today, I sit down here, you sat down here. Somebody before stood in front of us, isn't it? Today they might be sitting down there watching that, and of course they feel proud because the joy of a teacher lies where they see their students excelling. This is where we tend to say they are very selfless people. And whatever salary the government and whoever is giving that to them is actually not paying them. You're only compensating their efforts. They will get paid by the real God on the day of judgment. Certainly we know that will happen. So when we look into that journey then, we as teachers, if we pick up the challenge, let's know that we have to create impact to an extent. We have something in the future that is rare to find in today's generation. Walk down to schools. You ask younger children, what would you like to be tomorrow? They mention journalists, they mention doctor, nurses would happen.
Lawyers.
Lawyers would happen. But rarely we hear anyone saying,
Teacher.
oh, be a teacher.
Sure.
If it is 10, maybe 1 out of the 10.
True.
So we want it to be in a point that teachers are motivated, they are inspiring to an extent that tomorrow you ask a child, of course a school-going child, what do you want to be? They proudly say, I want to be a teacher. Why? Because
With
so
pride.
and so is my inspiration. How can this happen? It's not only by the teacher, but this is where we are calling on the ministry, calling on every other single or private sector out there, the philanthropists out there to invest in motivating teachers. Teacher welfare is something that should be a collaborative work for every single one of us. For when teachers are promoted, when teachers are motivated, the world is safe. There is no single country that can develop without having their sector of education at the peak of the story.
Absolutely.
So how
It's
can
the
you have it
foundation.
there when the teachers are not motivated? To that, we would commend NAMI Foundation, Mr. Alhassan Suso and the wife, Ma'am Bintu Jata Suso. These are very wonderful citizens of our country. We would say thank you to them. And again, they come up, bring in something like they do not have to take a path that has been laid, but they set their own path by creating such an avenue. So if anybody is out there, you want to support teachers, we ask you to partner with NAMI Foundation to make sure this is something that does have to end, but it's something that would be sustainable, keep on happening alongside both the system of education.
Thank you so much, and congratulations once again, Mr. Kebe, for the award. To every teacher out there, we say thank you and congratulations for the selfless efforts, for everything, your dedication that you're doing in transforming our country. Man, teacher Moma Jikawa Julde, I think journalism is for you. Don't even waste your time. I was like, yeah, Mr. Ba, thank you so much for believing in me when I was in school. Thank you, Mr. Sima, Mr. Ba, Mr. Dabo, everyone that contributed to my journey to becoming a great person. Thank you. This is all we have for this edition. We will take a short break. After the break, we will come back. Guess what? Financial literacy. It's important. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is the Youth Dialogue, and I am your host, Julden Jai, from the Gambia, the winner of the Gambia Teacher Prize 2026. We will now shift our attention to financial literacy and inclusion in the Gambia. According to the Central Bank of the Gambia, financial inclusion, it's low, which is at 19%. Can you imagine? And there are low levels of financial literacy. 77% of young people are financially excluded. So it's important for us to talk about financial inclusion, right? And the need to be independent. So to join me to discuss this and others, I have with me Prince Kanyi, who is the founder and CEO of Prince Empire Group Limited and also a financial literacy advocate. Prince, welcome to the Youth Dialogue.
Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here, the biggest TV station in the Gambia.
Oh, you're right about that. So talk to us about your financial inclusion, which is the Prince Empire Group Limited. Talk to us about the little things that you do in, supporting young people and creating awareness as far as financial inclusion is concerned.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Prince Empire Group Limited is a venture capitalist company. We're trying to make something different in the Gambia. Okay. Prince Kani, Gambian born, was born and raised here. After completing my school at Newsrod, I got the opportunity to travel where I'm based recently in Germany. So I think from childhood, I tried to figure out why my parents were poor. I was never able to understand that. In every society you have somebody who is rich, somebody that everybody looks at. So I always used to figure, especially during the Tabaski time when they buy big ram, in my head I'm thinking, why is this guy buying big ram and my father is not buying big ram? So that was something that was giving me so many questions in my head. And I came to figure out in the society, when whoever you talk to, like elders, what they believe in is something destined. But my instinct never believed in that. Why would God create me and make me poor? So it was something that was giving me so many questions. So when I got the opportunity to travel outside, I see things differently. So it was left to me to decide, what the society teaches me or the reality that I'm facing.
Right.
So when I look at the system of Europe, that we the young people are just focusing going there. So I see that they've set up a system that attracts us to go there. So that system, that's what fails here. So that's the system I'm trying to bring back. That is the venture capital.
Okay.
That's empowering the youths to think as entrepreneurs, not to think as job seekers. So that's exactly what Prince Empire is doing. I think the venture capital, concept is something new in the Gambia because, when you talk to people, most of the people will think like, okay, it's a loan or something like that. But it's a different because what we're trying to do is to look at, potential businesses,
Okay.
Venture into them, guide them, grow them at some point, because Gambia, we don't have a stock market, but in the advanced world, when you go to the IPO, you sell your stocks back to the company, you get your share. So that's what we are trying to build here in the Gambia. When I start doing that, we have a lot of struggles. Then I came to understand that the youth of this country, most of them like financial literacy. So that's why we introduced this Prince Empire Financial Institute, where we organize free financial seminars, teach youth about financial discipline, because this country really lacks financial discipline.
It does. I mean, the figures are obvious. 77% of young people are excluded, and 83% of them are in the informal sector. That is according to the Central Bank of the Gambia. So in your view, you've been in this for a very long time. In your view, what do you think are the biggest mistakes that young people in the Gambia make when it comes to finances?
Curriculum, the school curriculum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the school curriculum, because look, there is a system that is set up for us. Okay. And this system, nobody ever sat down to think, why is this system set for me? Okay, most of us, when we were born, the society told us, go to school, study very hard, get good grades, be a very good student, go to university, graduate, apply for job, and become an employee. So the purpose of that is just to go and look for money, but not creating something that will bring money for you. So that's why people are just in a haste to get money, but not doing something that will bring money for them. That's why we are all deep into financial literacy, because we have 5 levels of education, but people are just focused on academic education. So as long as you are focusing on academic education, your financial literacy, your financial discipline is going to go down, because the school will not teach you how to deal with money. You will not go to any university in the world where they will teach you money.
So how in your own group, how do you go about teaching young people? And so far, since you're established, when were you established?
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 1 year old.
It's 1 year
so
old.
So since you were established, how many young people were you able to train on financial literacy and inclusion?
Wow, we organized a lot of free financial seminar, and recently, we're very proud. We got approval from the Ministry of Education.
Okay.
To do a nationwide tour, which we just recently started. We start with
which of the ministries, higher or basic?
Basic. But
education.
Tomorrow we are having a meeting with the higher
education.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully they're also gonna give us the approval.
Yeah.
To go to tertiary institutes and university. We started with Kotu, and Kotu alone we were it was like 100 people. So you see the difference after the financial seminar.
Yeah.
The students were just thinking like,
why were
we not taught about this? Because this system is set by the capitalists. They understand.
Right.
They understand everything. What you are thinking of in the next 100 years is already been set up. Now, how do you come out of that box? Is the real question. That is the question that the society is not teaching us. That's the question that the school system is not teaching us. That's the system that the curriculum will never teach us. So we've did so many financial free seminar at our own cost. We had a collaboration with what's the name? A free foundation, something like that.
Okay.
The hall was full. We are not able to contain everybody. So We went to so many schools. We went to Mashrul, you know, we went to Nusrat, my former school, you know, we went there. The hall was full.
Nice.
Yeah. And now
I'm a St. Peter's student though, so I'm gonna clash. You know, Nusrat and St. Peter's, they were always at loggerheads. So, but young people, a lot of them are, you know, doing one or two things, even though they are excluded. You know, they are in the informal sector, as evident by the Central Bank report. But a lot of young people also are doing a lot of things of recent. We've seen that a lot of young entrepreneurs. But savings, there is one thing to make money, Prince, but it's another to be able to save and to be financially independent. How can young people be financially independent?
Mentorship.
Okay.
Very important.
Okay.
You know, here what people call entrepreneurship, it's not entrepreneurship. They are just doing, you know, side hustle. It's called side hustle.
Okay.
That's not entrepreneurship. Okay. You know, look, you know, this economy is really funny. You know, you see somebody set up a building, you know, they will call themselves, I'm a CEO of this. Like, come on. You are just doing what we call self-employed.
Okay.
You don't just want to be controlled by anybody. You just feel like, okay, 10 o'clock, I wake up, I go to my shop.
Wow.
You know, 12 o'clock.
That convenience, Hamga. A lot of us want to move away from the 9-to-5 job because it is so inconvenient, right?
So when they turn that to self-employed, now they call themselves entrepreneurs. That's not entrepreneurship.
Okay.
You have a whole lot to go. But every entrepreneur starts from self-employed.
Okay.
Sole proprietorship. Now then you expand to a business where you set up a system that will control the people that you employ. You oversee the people that you employ to control the people that are now working for you.
Then who is an entrepreneur?
Entrepreneur is Mohamed Jah.
Oh, my boss. Okay.
Entrepreneur is tough. Entrepreneur is Amidou Jah.
Mashallah.
Because look, they set up a system that controls it. Mohamed Jah can go and sleep. He don't care. He knows here will run. You at your shop, if you are not there,
it doesn't function.
You have to know if you are an entrepreneur, you have to be absent from your business for 99 days. If you are absent from your business for 99 days and the business function exactly if you are there, then you are leveling to entrepreneurship. And also you need to create a value that is solving a problem. But if you are just selling the food, you are not solving a problem. Because if you don't sell, somebody is selling food. So Mohamed Jah solved the problem of communication.
True.
He solves a problem. But just, you know, you selling shoe, you calling yourself entrepreneur, you are just a sole proprietor, you know, because, you know, we have 4 different, you are either a profession, you have a profession like the doctors, you know, here in Gambia that's not very, very common. You know, you have a businessman, you have an entrepreneur, and you have an investor.
Okay. Interesting.
So most of the people that call themselves, I am entrepreneur.
They are not.
They are not. They are just sole proprietor. They are just,
young people, don't come here and tell me I am an entrepreneur. I'll start telling you, no. I will ask the difficult questions.
If you want to know somebody is an entrepreneur, ask him what problem is he solving. If he tells you the problem that he's solving and that problem is adding value to the community, then he's an entrepreneur.
Then how can young people break the cycle of poverty?
That's a very good question. You know, you see, poverty is a mindset. Poverty has 5 levels. You know, poverty is a spirit. You know, that's why people will go to marabouts to pray for them. Because you think you are, you know, somebody is after you to
your
be
life.
So if you go to a marabout and prays for you, and the four levels is still remaining, you're still going to be poor. It does not mean that the prayers has not answered, because look, this life is governed by principles, and all the principles has to be attached together for you to be rich.
Okay, what are these principles?
I'll come to that. Okay. So poverty is a spirit, poverty is a lifestyle, poverty is a mindset, poverty is an habit, and poverty is an attitude.
These are fundamental differences.
Yeah. So as long as your mindset is poor, even if you have money, you cannot be rich. You know, because there is a difference having money and being rich and being wealthy. Because rich is cash-based, wealth is asset-based. Mohamed Jah is not rich, he is wealthy.
Wealthy.
Because even if you take all the money from him, tomorrow he will make money.
Because he has assets.
No, not asset, he has the mindset.
The mindset.
And you know,
Which young people should chase. The
which
mindset.
young people should chase. It's not the money. You cannot chase money. It's only poor people that chase money. Rich and wealthy people build a value that brings the money to them. So that's why you will see, you know, people will be working, they will be selling, you know, they will be struggling outside. They don't understand.
The chain.
They don't understand the chain. Because you are just doing a side hustle. All the money that you are bringing together, pack all of it together, you will still be poor. Because the mindset did not change. The lifestyle did not change. Because you did not understand how to use that money. What is the tripartite of the money? What is the present of the money? What is the past of the money? And what is the future of the money? You have to understand that.
So it requires decolonizing the mindset.
Yeah, because you see, you know what, you know, spirit of poverty does? It builds something in your mind for you to believe that you are poor. Now, if you go to a Marabout and he prays for you, now for you to come out of that zone, now you have to reformat that brain. And you cannot reformat that brain without mentorship. If you want to read all the books in this world about money, you will still be poor. You need to find somebody who understands really what it means to come out of that circle.
Okay.
Because you see, life, every stage of life pays a school fees. That's why when you go to primary school, you pay school fee. If you go to junior school, the price you paid at junior school is different from the price you pay in primary school. That's why university is expensive than senior school. Now, the life for you to change the life cycle, now you have to pay for mentorship. And this is what the people in the Gambia are not doing.
But do we have mentorship facilities in the Gambia that teaches people about financial inclusion and independence? We know we have a lot of financial, you know, institution, bureaus and all of that. But do we have what it takes in the country to actually get to a point where we decolonize the mindset of young people and think about issues that will be able to remove them out of poverty?
No, you don't actually have to know your mentor personally. If you know your mentor personally, it's perfect. But you don't actually have to know your mentor personally. Okay, I want to be rich. If you ask a lot of young people, okay, what do you want? The first thing that comes to their mind, I want to be rich. How can you be rich?
I want to be rich too, the prince. I want to be a multi-billionaire.
No, you cannot be.
I want to be there.
No, you cannot be.
Why?
Because you don't still figure out the problem that you want to solve. Unless and until you don't figure out the problem that you want to solve.
But how about if you figure out the problem, but still you don't have the finances to get things done?
No,
Where do you start?
That's why I said you still go and ask Mohamed Jah how he started his business. He will never tell you finance was my problem. It's idea that create value. Finance come when you want to grow the business.
Okay.
Starting business, you don't need any capital. You just need an idea. That's why he started his computer, computer stuff in his room, because he's not paying rent. He understands it. He has been a mentor for me when I was in primary.
I can tell. I can tell that my boss is your mentor, because the way you know my boss.
any platform I sat,
right.
I told people he contributed a whole lot in my life without him knowing. When I was in Newsra grade 11, he came there and spoke about how he started his business. And ever since, that always rang in my head. And that's kept me going. When I reflect, okay, I say, how he built all this structure here
from zero to something.
From zero to something. Then I look at him as my mentor. I go and watch what he does, what he's passionate about, how he thinks, how he sees the future, what makes him different from the other people. That's mentorship.
But Prince, now we have everything readily available. There is AI, there is the internet, there is the social media for young people to be innovative. But still, what is the problem?
No, innovative will not make you rich. You have to understand the system. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
They build AI just to make people lazy.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
No, look, because now they want you to be in a comfort zone. If you are in a comfort zone, then you don't use your brain.
You need to be out of your comfort zone.
You have to come out of your comfort zone. If you are working for 8 hours, your boss is working 24 hours.
Right.
If you are thinking of 2 years, he's thinking of the next 5 years. He's thinking how to make this company have a transgenerational wealth. You are not thinking of that. You are not thinking of, if I leave this position, will my kid come and replace me here? You are not thinking of, he is thinking of that. That's what is called transgenerational. And AI cannot make you think of transgenerational wealth. It's very good, to have systems put in place that will make life easy for people. But also, people also have to understand that, your brain is really needed, because, one of my mentors used to tell me, Prince, if you want to go faster than other people, you have to make sure you activate 95% of your brain, because most of the people in this world only use 5% of their brain. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow.
That's why the capitalist will tell you have to sleep 8 hours. Ask your boss whether he sleeps 8 hours. He will tell you no.
But health-wise, it's advisable to sleep 8 hours, the Prince.
Yeah, for poor people.
Minister of Dr. Samate will come for you. They will be like, Prince, what are you telling me, the young people?
Yeah, for poor people, it's good to sleep, 8 hours. It's good to eat 3 times a day. It's good to, spend your money anyhow. But that's not how rich people think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the way forward for young people in this country? How is your organization, how are they going to contribute to ensuring that I know it's very difficult, trust me, because majority of Gambian population are young people. So you cannot decolonize the mindset, you cannot change the mindset of the young people. But what are you going to do differently to ensure that we break this cycle?
It's about being real to yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do they get access for your mentorship and training programs, the young people?
Yeah, we have Facebook page that we always post, and we also write to schools, But look,
what are the name of the handles that young people can access?
We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have TikTok. I'm not a social media guy.
So is Prince Kanye Naka handle?
Yeah, Prince Empire.
Prince Empire Financial Institute.
Yeah.
So they can access. How about if they want the physical one?
Yeah, I do mentorship, but look, people.
You're going back to Germany?
Yeah, but I'm like every month here.
Oh, you come every month?
Every month.
So I will be engaging you frequently. Young people, if you want to, do you have any QCell line that we can get them to communicate if young people wants to QCell?
Yeah, we have QCell line, I think, Bashiru.
511-7796. 511-7796. That is the number to contact if you want to decolonize the mindset. Prince, man, I will come to your institute because, man, I want to set up a business, but I don't know how to go about it. I want to be like my boss, Mohamed. Yeah.
No, I wonder if you can be like Mohamed.
I will. No doubt about that. The future is young people.
No, I wonder. Look,
thank you.
There are some people in the Gambia here. They definitely contribute what people don't understand.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prince. And hope to have you again. We will definitely have part 2 of this because I need the young people to be financially independent but literate as well. And this is all we have for you in this edition of the Youth Dialogue. We will be back next week for another edition of the Youth Dialogue. And I promise you I will bring back Prince again to talk about this because it is important. Bye-bye.